Can we get full-time bully Aspinall after this smear campaign? How are you going to be on the comeback?
Mate, when I come back, there is no more Mr. Nice Guy. Nice Tom. When it comes to MMA, he's gone. And I'm going full bad guy, I think.
What are you left feeling after the fight?
Well, look, if you were sidelined from doing your job for like 15 months, not allowed to do anything, you train your ass off for 6 months for a fight, then to get double eye pokes, be left with no vision for nearly 6 weeks because of an illegal move. How do you think I feel? I'm not feeling fantastic, am I?
Tom Aspinall has finally spoken out, and his words have shaken the MMA community. The heavyweight, known for staying humble, respectful, and laser-focused throughout his career, has reached a breaking point. One nobody saw coming. The moment he addressed the situation, fans immediately realized this wasn't the calm, composed British fighter they were used to hearing. This was a man genuinely frustrated, someone who felt overlooked, disrespected, and even let down by the very person who should have had his back. Dana White Aspinall revealed that the UFC president didn't just question his toughness after the accidental poke that ended the Cyril Gane fight, he brushed it off completely. According to Tom, Dana treated the injury like it was nothing more than a minor hiccup, even giving a smirk that suggested the whole thing was overblown. And Tom isn't holding it in anymore. Moment was supposed to mark the rise of one of the most heavyweight contenders the UFC has seen since the peak of Cain Velasquez. Instead, the narrative shifted. Suddenly, everyone was asking whether he gave up, whether he wanted out, whether that eye poke, one that left him barely able to see for nearly 2 days, was really enough to stop a championship-level fight. Aspinall has made it painfully clear he didn't quit. He made the smartest decision for his future. He protected his eyesight, his career, and his family's stability. Because in the heavyweight division, losing even a fraction of your vision isn't a small risk. It's the difference between becoming champion or living with permanent damage. And
something needs doing about it.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, it's horrendous for me to look at that.
Say that. How is he not disqualified off that? It's outrageous. And then people start booing me like, my fault. Big double fault in the eye, mate. I was trained for 14 months. Trust me, didn't want someone's finger knuckle deep in my eye. It's the last thing I wanted.
Shocked fans the most was that the one person who could have defended Tom, the man who shapes the UFC's public narrative, didn't lift a finger. Dana White simply shrugged off the situation, acting as if Aspinall should have just powered through a serious eye injury. And that's where everything spirals. For the first time in his professional career, Tom is openly angry. Angry at the criticism, angry at the disrespect, angry that fighter safety seems to matter right up until it conflicts with business interests. Pokes, one of the most dangerous and common fouls in the sport, keep getting brushed aside until a fighter's entire livelihood is at risk. And Tom pointed out the hypocrisy perfectly. If this were a huge cut, a snapped bone, or any other obvious injury, no one would even question the stoppage. But the moment it's an eye poke, suddenly the internet becomes full of armchair experts claiming he should have continued. As if vision doesn't matter in a division where one clean punch can end a career. And the worst part, this issue has been plaguing UFC fighters for years. Some of the greatest names ever, Miocic, Daniel Cormier, Bilal Muhammad, Leon Edwards, have all suffered the same fate. Careers have been put on hold. Fights have ended in no contests. Some fighters have left with permanent damage, blurred vision, torn retinas, corneal injuries, even temporary blindness. Yet the organization still refuses to update the gloves, the single most criticized piece of equipment in MMA, despite pressure from doctors, former champions, countless athletes. But this is where the story goes from frustrating to explosive. In his outrage and disbelief at how the situation was handled, Tom Aspinall revealed something the UFC definitely didn't want public. He's genuinely thinking about switching to boxing, not years from now. Not hypothetically, he's talking about walking away the moment his current UFC contract runs out. If the promotion won't take his safety seriously, he's ready to move on. And that stunned everyone because Tom has always been loyal. He's been a model representative for the company, but even he's now acknowledging that boxing might offer more respect, better treatment, and far more financial stability than continuing to risk his eyesight for a promotion that didn't back him when it mattered. This is no longer rumor. This is a heavyweight storyline on the verge of erupting. The Francis Ngannou ripple effect is real. Fighters watched him leave, secure massive paydays, rewrite the rules, and prove that the UFC is not the only route to international super. Tom Aspinall saw that too.
Imaging, CT and MRI confirmed orbital soft tissue trauma. Confirmed! This is confirmation, okay? Orthoptic evaluations demonstrated impaired binocular coordination and restricted ocular motility. This is what the scans are revealing, guys. That doesn't sound good. I feel weird celebrating this because it's like we were correct and we're not lying and we're not making shit up. But also it's like, oh God, we were correct. This is terrible. This is really bad. You know, so it's a weird in-between that I'm at. Bilateral traumatic Brown's syndrome. Tom Aspinall was poked and Cyril Gahn put his fingers in Tom Aspinall's eyes and Tom Aspinall got Brown's syndrome from it. I don't know if this is a symptom of Brown's syndrome.
I'd say what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And Tom Aspinall right now is getting a lot of online. There's a lot of people supporting him, but there's also a lot of people jumping on the bandwagon and talking a ton of crap. And obviously Jon Jones, an incredibly popular fighter that's been around forever. He's one of the GOATs. You know, he's got a lot of fans. And a lot of people are going to get on the side of Jon Jones. Simple as that, because they're his fans. And Tom's English and he hasn't been around too long and all that kind of shit, right? But the reality is, he said that Tom Aspinall is incredibly overrated. And he's quite simple. All he has is a good 1-2.
He has a beautiful 1-2. I got to learn a lot about his patterns in his last fight. That's really about it. That's the one thing that he's setting up real nice.
That's it. That's all he's got. He's got a good 1-2. It's dangerous. He can knock people out. He got Curtis Blade with it and a bunch of other people. But if you watched Tom Aspinall, you know that's not true, okay?
Given the way Dana reacted to the injury, the way fans piled on, and the way fighters' safety constantly gets pushed to the side, it's no surprise Tom Aspinall finally said out loud that he's weighing his options once his remaining UFC bouts are finished. He understands his market value. He knows the kind of life-changing money heavyweight boxers make. And he's aware that some boxers earn in a single night what MMA heavyweights might never touch in their entire peak years. Meanwhile, as Tom keeps his future open, Dana White has responded in the most predictable way possible, minimizing the issue, acting indifferent and pretending nothing is wrong, but something is wrong. In fact, this situation didn't just strain the relationship between a rising heavyweight star and the promotion. It exposed a deeper problem fighters have been shouting about for years. Safety only matters when it's convenient for the UFC. By speaking up, Tom didn't just break his silence, he shattered the unwritten rule that UFC heavyweights must always tough it out, no matter how serious the injury. The moment he pushed back against that expectation, fans suddenly saw how delicate the fighter-promoter relationship really is. When Dana questioned whether the eye poke was truly severe, when he suggested Tom could have continued, when he treated a potentially career-altering injury like it was a minor scratch, Tom felt exactly what many fighters feel. In the UFC, you're valued right up until you disrupt a main event. After that, the loyalty fades, the support disappears, and the blame quietly shifts back onto the fighter. Tom has made it clear the backlash wasn't just unfair, it was reckless. Fans calling him weak, accusing him of quitting, acting like he should fight half-blind against someone like Cyril Gahn. That's pure madness. That's as a man who has trained with elite boxers, sparred with world-class kickboxers, and lived combat sports his entire life. He knows the risks better than anyone behind a keyboard. And when he explained that doctors warned him continuing could result in permanent vision loss, he wasn't inventing an excuse. He was protecting his career, his health, and his ability to watch his children grow up. That's why Dana's reaction cut so deeply. Instead of clarifying the seriousness of the injury, instead of shutting down the trolls, instead of defending one of his top heavyweights, Dana came across cold, dismissive, and borderline mocking. And for Tom, that was the final straw.
You first got eye poked.
Well, I actually got eye poked twice in the fight. First one wasn't too bad. He got warned for it. The second one, obviously, Cyril Gahn tried to make my head a bowling ball with the double eye poke, knuckle deep in both. So yeah, wouldn't recommend it at all.
How did you feel the fight was going before the eye poke?
I felt like the fight was going okay. It was going pretty much to plan. I think that, but there was this big notion in the media before that I'm just going to run through Cyril Gahn. But I might look like an idiot. Sometimes I might even talk like an idiot, but when it comes to fighting, I know what I'm talking about, and I know that Cyril Gahn is a tough matchup for me.
That was the turning point for Tom. If the organization isn't willing to defend its athletes in public, then why should those same athletes keep defending the organization behind closed doors? And that is exactly where the boxing conversation becomes loud and unavoidable. Tom didn't mention boxing out of bitterness or spite. He brought it up because the economics are undeniable. Heavyweight boxing is a financial powerhouse, and Tom knows he already possesses the tools that translate perfectly high-level striking. Sharp footwork, exceptional fight IQ, size, power, timing, and now global name recognition. Boxing promoters understand his marketability instantly. He has also seen the blueprint already succeed. He watched Francis Ngannou leave the UFC, get ridiculed for the decision, then step into boxing and make more in one night than he had earned across his entire UFC tenure. Tom Aspinall isn't naive. He realizes he's holding a potential jackpot in a division where stars can become global icons overnight. And the recent eye poke incident only highlighted everything even more. This wasn't just an unfortunate moment, it symbolized a long-standing issue the UFC has refused to address. Tom broke down the problem clearly. Outdated gloves, no urgency to innovate, no preventative measures, despite years of fighters pleading for improvements. Safer, curved gloves have been available for nearly a decade. Trevor Whitman developed a model that reduces eye pokes dramatically. The UFC could have switched at any time. Instead, fighters are still dealing with the same open finger design, the same accidental fouls derailing fights, and the same impossible decision: risk serious injury, or get labeled as someone who quit. Tom finally voiced what many fighters have whispered for years. If the organization won't take the eye poke issue seriously, athletes will eventually start protecting their own futures by competing elsewhere. And he's right, this goes far beyond Tom Aspinall and Dana White. This is about the message the UFC sends every time it ignores a problem that keeps putting careers at risk.
Really good defensively. I knew that if we want to break the fight down a little bit, Cyril's got really good defense. He moves really, really well on his feet. I knew that I have to stand in range and take a few punches from Cyril to be able to land my own shots. We knew that. That was happening. I had a bloody nose. Look, any of my sparring partners know you only have to look at that thing.
I think it's a bit red now as well, isn't it?
It might be a bit red today, yeah. Got the old Rudolph thing going on.
It's not broken though, just to be clear.
No, my nose isn't broken, but I have broke my nose about 3 or 4 times in my life. So, look, touch me in the nose, it'll bleed. Yeah, nosebleeds happen in fights. Yeah, was he hitting me with a few jabs? Yes. Was I hitting him with a few shots as well? Yes. I thought it was going to be a 5-round fight. Go and look at my pre-fight stuff. I knew this was going to be a long and tough fight.
I think that every fight I go into, and I really respect my opponent, especially Cyril. I think there's this notion with the media and maybe the fans that Cyril's not very good, which is just complete bullshit. I think that he's really, really good. He's super talented. He's been at the top of division for a number of years, which is not easy to do. He's been an interim champion himself. He's obviously had 2 title shots for the undisputed title as well. So I think the guy's really good. I've took him extremely, extremely seriously. The fact that people expect it to be an easy fight, I don't read into that at all. I think I'm prepared for a really, really hard fight.
That was a lot of the take. Even if he is blind, he should fight on. Just go out there and fucking just geriatrically fucking look around the cage like Mr. Magoo, wondering where Cyril Gane is, while Gane just tees off on him with head kicks and wheel kicks and whatever he wants. And then if he would have lost by KO, no belt, Cyril Gane's champ, and I bet you anything people have moved on real quick by now. Gane versus Pereira sounds great. I'm already seeing those discussions now that we think Tom might be out for a little bit longer. That's 100% what the MMA community would have done. Not the real ones, but that's what people do. They just move on past that shit. Goes back out there blind, gets destroyed, gets finished, and then bang. We just move on. So annoying.